I lost money, lost trust, and almost lost myself. In just one peaceful Sunday afternoon, the life I thought I had under control vanished like smoke. The man I'd loved for nearly a decade looked me straight in the eyes and said, "We all agreed you didn't need that money." In that moment, I couldn't hear the wind outside the window, the TV in the living room, or even my heart pounding in my chest. Just one question echoed in my head. Who is we? But let me start from the beginning. My name is Olivia Sanders. I'm 37 years old and live in Charleston, South Carolina. I've been married to Travis for 8.5 years. A marriage that wasn't perfect, but I always thought it was good enough to hold on to. We didn't have kids, partly because it never felt like the right time, and partly because I wasn't sure I wanted to tie myself any closer to a man who always hid behind easy smiles and empty words. 7 months ago, my father died of a stroke. No warning, no time to prepare, he collapsed on the kitchen floor just minutes after calling to ask if I'd be coming home for Easter. I can't forget that call. Or the wake-up call it brought with it. Dad wasn't rich, but he was a planner. He'd been an accountant in the military, lived frugally, and always reminded me to save for the future. Before he passed, he left me a life insurance policy worth nearly $187,000. I was the sole beneficiary, his only child. In his will, he wrote, "For you, when you truly need it." I didn't spend it. I didn't buy a new car, didn't upgrade my house, didn't even replace the crack-screen phone I'd had since last year. Instead, I opened a high-yield savings account in my name only. I kept it quiet, just telling Travis it was a small amount from Dad. No exact figures, no bank details. I didn't do it because I didn't trust my husband, but because I knew money had a way of warping things, and I wasn't ready to deal with that, especially not in the middle of grief, when everything felt so fragile that even one careless word could shatter me. Right after receiving the money, I also quit my job. Not because I was suddenly wealthy, but because I couldn't take the toxic workplace anymore. Especially after my boss told me, "Everyone loses a parent at some point. Don't use it as an excuse to avoid work." Travis held me and said, "You just rest, I've got this." I believed him. I really believed him. He didn't ask what I planned to do next, didn't bring up the money, didn't seem bothered that I spent hours rereading every handwritten letter my father had ever sent. To me, he was the perfect husband. The kind of man who would be my rock when the world turned cold. But I was wrong. So wrong that I can't forgive myself for trusting blindly. For 2 months after my father's death, I lived in a haze. Somewhere between numb and hyper-aware. I cooked more, cleaned obsessively, and called my mom often just to talk about old memories, as if holding on to the past could somehow ease the weight of the present. Travis kept going to work, kept telling me about office gossip, kept smiling when I brought coffee to the backyard. Everything felt calm. Until it wasn't. But that's another part of the story. The part I wasn't ready to face when everything still seemed almost peaceful. I want you to understand why I didn't see it sooner. Why I didn't suspect. Why, when I saw my bank account balance drop to just a few dollars, I couldn't breathe. Because sometimes, the person you trust most is the one who puts the knife in your back. Not out of hatred, but because they assume you won't fight back. And I didn't fight back. But that was before. That Saturday, the Texas sun was blistering hot. I remember it clearly because my long floral dress clung to my skin like glue, and the air was thick with the smell of sweat, beer, and barbecue. We were in Fort Worth, at Travis's sister Monica's house. A woman who never skipped makeup and always used polite smiles to mask the contempt in her eyes. Travis's whole family was there. Monica, his younger sister Jenna, their mother Carol, a bunch of rowdy little nieces and nephews running around the backyard, and of course, Travis. I thought it was just a casual family gathering, grilled meat, small talk, country music from an old Bluetooth speaker. But no. That afternoon, I felt like I'd stumbled into a twisted version of Shark Tank, only I hadn't volunteered, and they weren't looking to invest. They were after money. I was sitting on a wooden chair by the fence, holding a glass of iced tea, beading with condensation, eyes following a couple teaching their kid how to play catch. Everything seemed normal, until Carol spoke. "Olivia," she said, "I heard from Travis that your father left you a pretty sizable amount, didn't he?" I turned to look at her. Her voice was gentle, but her eyes were sharp as blades. I didn't answer right away. I gave a polite smile, nodded slightly. "Yes, he left a bit," I said, trying to sound calm. Jenna burst out laughing. "A bit? Girl, Travis said it was close to 200 grand. For most people, that's a fortune." I gripped my glass of iced tea so hard I nearly cracked it. My heart pounded. Travis told them? I never gave him the exact number, just called it a small savings. How did they know? I tried to stay calm. "Whatever the amount is, it's the inheritance my father left me. I'm just trying to use it wisely." Monica chimed in, setting her plate of ribs down on the wooden table. "Then why not invest it in something useful? We talked with Travis last week. If we had a bit more capital, we could open a self-service laundromat near West High. That area's growing." I looked at Travis. He avoided my gaze and scratched his head. "You talk to them about my money?" I asked, my voice low but sharp as a blade. "It was just an idea," he said awkwardly. "It's not like you're using it right now." Carol jumped in immediately. "What I mean is, you're not working, you don't have any financial burdens, and meanwhile the family is trying to build something. I just think, if you shared a little, we could all move forward together." I let out a short, dry laugh. "Share a little? You're talking about my father's inheritance. The man you never even met, the man I've lost forever. And now you're calling this moving forward together?" Jenna raised an eyebrow. "No need to get all worked up. You're sitting on a pile of money you're not using, and we're actually trying to build something for the future." I set the glass down on the table. My hands had started to tremble. I didn't want to make a scene. Didn't want to argue in front of the kids playing nearby. Didn't want to be the crazy daughter-in-law in their eyes. But every cell in my body was screaming, "This is a trap." "I'll think about it," I said, keeping my voice steady, then stood up. "Anyone need help cleaning up?" No one answered. They just stared at me. As if I'd just refused to give them a gift they'd long assumed was already theirs. That night, back home, I stood in the shower for what felt like forever. The water running over me but doing nothing to wash away the numbness. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt something cold spreading through my chest. I understood. This wasn't a misunderstanding or a polite suggestion anymore. They didn't ask. They'd discussed it, made plans, and were now just waiting for me to say yes, like some fool surrounded by wolves. The only question left was, what would they do if I said no? And I, Olivia Sanders, was too damn tired to stay silent again. The next morning I took Milo, my loyal Labrador, to the vet, after he'd been throwing up all night. The sky hadn't even fully brightened yet, a chill creeping down my collar, and all I wanted was to pay the bill quickly and go home to rest. But life wasn't going to be that simple. The moment I opened the banking app on my phone, it felt like the world exploded around me. Balance, $0.36. I froze at the reception counter. The screen blurred as my hands trembled so badly I almost dropped the phone. I closed the app and reopened it. Same thing. I checked the savings account, the one where I'd carefully deposited my father's inheritance, the only place I thought was truly safe. Balance, $0. I don't even remember how I left the clinic. Maybe I muttered something, "I'll come back later, maybe?" Or maybe I just ran to the car without saying a word. I just remember my legs going numb, my heart pounding like war drums. When I got home, I dropped my purse on the floor, turned on the speaker, and called Travis. "Hello?" His voice came through, calm, like nothing had happened. Where's my money? I hissed, losing every ounce of restraint. Olivia, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. My inheritance, all of it, is gone. I'm asking you again, where is my money? A moment of silence, then Travis let out a sigh, like he was the one being bothered. I transferred it to our joint account. We already talked about this. Everyone agreed you didn't need to keep it all to yourself. It felt like someone had punched me in the face. Everyone? Who the hell is everyone, Travis? What gave you the right to touch an account that's in my name only? Me. Monica, Jenna, Mom? We all felt like you were just sitting on that money, while the family could really use it to invest in something. You're not using it. You're not working. You don't have any debt. We could have done something bigger. I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. You had... No. Right, I said slowly, each word like swallowing a bullet. Olivia. Don't make this a big deal. I didn't spend anything. I just moved it somewhere safer. Joint account. Both our names. I laughed. A hollow, cracked sound, like my mind had just been torn apart. Safer for who? For me? Or for the backyard gossip circle yesterday, cooking up schemes like some second-rate crime ring? You're being dramatic. I hung up. If I heard one more word, I was going to smash my phone, or worse, kick down the bedroom door where Travis used to kiss my forehead and whisper, "I love you." I slid down to the floor, leaning my head against the wall. A chill ran down my spine. It wasn't just about the money. I'd been betrayed. Methodically, strategically. And the worst part was, I didn't even know when Travis stopped seeing me as his wife and started seeing me as a gateway to money. When the shock wore off, I jumped to my feet and started digging through everything. Emails, bank alerts, message history. There were some strange transactions. A large transfer to an unfamiliar account. An email confirming a change in login credentials at 2 a.m. 2 nights ago. I didn't do that. I didn't know who to call, what to do, but instinctively I called Ethan, my cousin who works in the financial fraud department at a major bank in Dallas. Ethan. You have to help me, I said, my voice cracking. What's going on, Liv? Travis. He took all of Dad's insurance money. My account, it's empty. The words came out like a sentence. I didn't know if I was shaking from rage or despair, probably both. Ethan went quiet for a second, then his tone turned serious. All right. Don't call again. Don't confront him, keep everything exactly as it is, all of it. Text me the account details, dates, transaction logs. You're going to need to stay calm. From this point on, act like you're in the middle of a war zone. I nodded even though he couldn't see me. My hands steadied. I opened my laptop, created a folder, and named it Tactical Recovery. If they thought I'd just sit back and take it, they didn't know who Olivia Sanders was. Some nightmares don't need closed eyes to see, because they unfold in broad daylight, right in the home you once called your safe place. After the call with Ethan, I turned off my phone, shut the blinds, and locked every window in the house. I needed darkness. I needed silence. I was about to do something I never imagined I'd have to do to the man I once shared a bed with. Investigate him. The truth is, I'd had a vague feeling for weeks. The exchanged looks between Travis and Monica when I walked into a room. Conversations that suddenly went quiet. One time, I caught Travis copying something from my laptop onto a USB drive. He said it was backing up photos, even though I knew damn well no one backs up Word docs and bank spreadsheets onto a flash drive like that. I'd filed away those moments, but I hadn't acted. Until now. I created a hidden folder named Fireproof. In it, I started collecting everything I had. Screenshots of the suspicious bank transactions. Notification emails showing login changes. Forwarded to a strange new address. An audio recording from 3 days ago, in the kitchen, where Travis muttered to his mom over the phone. She won't notice. Not yet. I'm doing it by the book. I saved every byte of data, encrypted the folder, and backed it up on 2 USB drives, one hidden inside an old tea tin on the kitchen shelf, the other I took to the bank to keep in a safe deposit box. That evening, I called Aaron, my older cousin who's worked on financial fraud cases in Boston since our college days. "I need you," I said quickly, dryly. "And this isn't about a cheating boyfriend." His voice changed instantly. "Travis, what's going on?" I didn't need to say much. I sent him a summary, screenshots, the recording, the forwarded email address, and one short line. He took everything. Half an hour later, Aaron called back. His voice was cold as steel. "Listen to me. From now on, no confrontations, no questions, no warnings. Let us track everything." "Us?" I asked. "Loop in a few people from my old internal investigations team. You just live like nothing's happened, gather everything you notice. Especially anything involving his mother, and those 2 sisters of his." And just like that, for the next 3 weeks, I played the part of a slightly distracted, slightly gloomy wife, something no one questioned during the mourning period after my father's death. But in truth, I was quietly recording every move, every glance, every scrap of paper. I placed a tiny recorder under the sofa and another one in Travis's home office, the room he always shut tight at night. Each morning I listened to the recordings. Shady calls, half-finished conversations, unfamiliar names repeated again and again. "Send that amount to the Shell account. Meeting with Jenna tonight, plan stays the same. As long as Olivia doesn't say anything, everything will go smoothly." I took notes, encrypted files, and sent everything to Aaron through a secure channel. One night, he messaged back. "They're building a whole system? Your money is being funneled into a shell company called Elm Tree Solutions, under Monica's name." Aaron sent me a financial map, bank transfers, suspicious Venmo transactions, even a $4,700 business consulting fee to Jenna. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together, and I finally saw the full picture. This wasn't just a husband's betrayal. This was a family operation, with roles assigned, strategies in place. And I, the daughter mourning her father, recently unemployed, emotionally vulnerable, was the perfect target. I used to think I was naive. But no. I had just never imagined they could be this ruthless. That evening, Travis came home looking cheerful, sat at the dinner table like nothing was wrong. "You feeling better?" he asked, scooping more rice. I looked at him, nodded slightly, smiled. "I'm okay." Then I asked, "I saw an email today about a transfer from my savings account. Do you know anything about that?" Travis didn't blink. "Oh, I was just testing the system, don't worry, everything's still safe." I nodded, pushing the bowl toward him. "Careful, it might get cold." Under the table, my hand clenched tightly around a black USB drive, holding the latest audio recording. "If she finds out, just say it was a family decision. She's too soft. She won't do anything." They thought I was soft. Unfortunately for them, they were wrong. The day Aaron sent me an email titled, "Confirmed, Organized Fraud," I sat frozen in front of my screen for nearly half an hour, not blinking. Not because I was shocked, but because, for the first time in my life, I truly felt hunted. And the predators bore my husband's last name. Inside the email was a chart, as clear as a legal indictment. Elm Tree Solutions, LLC. A shell company, registered in Austin, under Jenna's name. Travis's younger sister. A linked bank account received 3 transfers from my savings account, each over $15,000. Monica, Travis's older sister, used a portion of the funds to invest in a startup her husband runs. A business with 0 revenue history, already flagged twice for document fraud. Then, Aaron found something that made my blood boil. Carol, my mother-in-law, used my financial information, including account balance and verification letters, to apply for a $100,000 loan for the church where she works as treasurer, using my money as collateral. She told the bank I had authorized it. I muttered, nearly choking as I stared at a scanned copy of the forged authorization letter. My signature. Nearly perfect. I grabbed my phone, ready to hurl it at the wall, but I knew I couldn't. Not yet. The game wasn't over. Aaron sent another message. Travis used your identity to apply for an unsecured loan, $80,000, from a fintech company in Nevada. He submitted everything online, using a secondary email created from your computer. I opened my laptop, dug through the hidden folders, and there it was. In a nested directory labeled, House Renovation 2002, to everything. Everything. Scans of my driver's license, social security number, tax forms, and a confirmation letter for the loan, sent to an email address I never even knew existed. He didn't just steal my money. Travis erased my identity to serve his plan. That night, while Travis was in the shower, I slipped into his office, turned on the printer, and pulled out hard copies of the most critical evidence. Recordings, financial flow charts, forged contracts, fake authorizations. I placed everything into a red folder, labeled, Truth, locked and loaded. An hour later I sat in the dark living room, a glass of wine in my hand untouched, my eyes fixed on the bathroom door. Travis stepped out, towel drying his hair, squinting at me. "You're not asleep yet?" I didn't answer, just stared at him, a long, piercing stare that felt like it could cut through skin and bone. "What's wrong?" he asked, voice steady. I curled my lips into a half smile, half sneer. "I was just wondering. If someone stole your identity, drained all your money, took out an $80,000 loan in your name, and then told the world, we all agreed you didn't need it, how would you feel?" He froze. His eyes darted for a second. I saw it. The flash of panic. But he hit it again, like a seasoned pro. "What are you talking about, Olivia?" I stood up, grabbed the red folder and slammed it down on the glass coffee table. The sound echoed like a gavel in a courtroom. "This is the truth, not guesses, not suspicions. A full investigation conducted by a professional financial team. Every single person in your family, from Monica to Jenna, from your mother to you, is named in this report." Travis stepped back, his mouth barely moving. How did you get all this?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "Because I'm not as stupid as you all thought." I walked past him and opened the front door. "You all thought I'd just cry and hide under the covers because the money was gone? Wrong. I've documented everything. Recordings, backups, files, sent to 3 different agencies, including the Texas Department of Finance." Travis stood frozen. He stammered, "Olivia, listen, Shut up," I snapped. "The only thing you should be thinking about right now is which lawyer might be good enough to drag you out of this mess." "Oh, wait. Guess that lawyer fee's probably tucked inside that $80,000 loan in my name, huh?" I slammed the door and walked out into the night. The cool wind hit my face but my chest burned hot. For the first time in months, I wasn't afraid anymore. And I knew, starting now, the game had changed. I thought I was prepared for everything, the betrayal, the lies, even standing in court across from the man who once swore to love me forever. But what came next went beyond even my worst nightmares. 2 days after the confrontation, Aaron sent me a short message. "You need to meet with the investigator, now." "There's more. It's serious." I drove to his office in Dallas, where a team of analysts was glued to screens, printing reports, fielding calls. They greeted me with somber eyes, no small talk. A man in a white dress shirt with a badge reading, "Henson, Financial Crimes Division," motioned for me to sit. "We have reason to believe that your husband Travis not only defrauded you, but is a professional con artist operating under multiple fake identities." I didn't react. I thought I was ready. Or at least, I believed I was. He placed a file in front of me. "This is Ryan T. Vickers, age 39, posing as an independent financial advisor in Houston. The LinkedIn profile matches Travis exactly. Photo and all. just under a different name. I flipped through the pages. Fake driver's license, tax documents, the shell company Skyline Holdings. Each piece sliced deeper into what was left of my trust. He used this alias to sell shares in a company that doesn't exist, stealing nearly $40,000 from a woman in Oklahoma. At least 4 people have filed complaints. One of them is already with the FBI. So he's scamming strangers too? I gasped. Not just strangers, Aaron cut in. There's also Stacy Delmar. I turned to him, the name hit like a punch to the chest. I'd seen suspicious messages on Travis's phone. Something starting with state. I hadn't dared to look further. Now I knew. Henson handed me a photo. Travis holding hands with a blonde woman on the beach in Cancun. A picture-perfect moment. A world where I didn't exist. Stacy isn't just some fling. She's listed as a co-owner on an account used to funnel scam money overseas. She received gifts, cash, even a car. What's worse, Travis introduced her as his late wife and told her the money came from a life insurance payout. I bit my lip, the blood drained from my face. A wave of humiliation, rage, and choking heartbreak rose all at once, like a tide tightening around my throat. He built an entirely different life. I whispered. Henson's voice turned grave. There's something even more serious. He placed a copy of an unfiled legal document on the table. Petitioner, Carol Delaney. My mother-in-law. Subject. A court request to obtain financial guardianship over me, citing mental instability following her father's death. I froze, couldn't speak. She submitted forged documents. A note from a psychologist who retired in 2020. A fake letter of authorization with your signature, claiming you're unfit to manage your inheritance. All of it, completely fabricated. I had to grip the armrest to keep from collapsing. My hands were ice, my head buzzed. They're trying to declare me mentally incompetent? I asked. Yes, and if they succeed, everything you own would be controlled by your guardian. Carol. I had never felt so dehumanized. As if I weren't a person with thoughts and rights, but just a money vault with the lid wide open. Aaron spoke slowly. They don't just want to defraud you. They want to own you. Permanently. I clenched my fists. Do we have proof? All of it. Audio, emails, scanned documents, even digital fingerprints. And a willing witness we didn't expect. I looked up. Who? Aaron glanced at Henson, then back at me. Stacy, she found out she's been conned too, and she's ready to expose Travis in court. Silence settled in the room, like a looming sentence. I swallowed hard and stared straight at them. Then let's flip the board. The courtroom that morning felt more like a stage than a legal venue. But instead of lights and velvet curtains, there were the echoes of hurried footsteps, the shuffling of papers, and cold stares locked onto the defendant. I sat motionless on the plaintiff's bench, hand resting lightly on the thick folder that held everything Aaron and I had gathered over nearly 2 months. Dallas County Court, preliminary hearing on charges of fraud, forgery, identity theft, and illegal money transfers. Defendant, Travis Delaney, along with 3 family members, Carol, Monica, and Jenna. I knew they'd all show up, but I didn't expect 2 more to walk in just as the judge entered the room. A blonde woman in dark sunglasses and a long black dress, Stacy, the woman Travis once called his new wife in the double life he created. And the other, more surprising, was Jenna, Travis's sister. But this time, she sat on my side. The judge called the names, the air thickened with tension. I could feel the sweat running down Travis's back, even as he tried to keep his expression calm. When Jenna asked to speak, all eyes turned. She stood, voice trembling but clear. I want to cooperate with the investigation as a witness. I admit I helped my brother transfer money into Elmtree Solutions. I believed it was a shared investment, but now I know. It was Olivia's money. And Travis lied to all of us. Across the aisle, Travis's face turned ghostly white. But things were just getting started. Stacy stood next, not waiting for permission. Her voice was cold as steel. Travis told me his wife died in a car accident in Alabama. He showed me a death certificate. Now I know it was fake. He said the inheritance was his, from life insurance. I believed him. I even co-owned an account he used to launder funds through a fake investment chain. I didn't turn around. But I knew Travis's eyes were wild. Cornered. Panicked. Then he jumped to his feet. Without waiting for his lawyer to stop him, he screamed. It was all my mother's idea. She planned it. I just followed orders. Monica and Jenna knew too. We didn't do anything without a family decision. The judge slammed the gavel for the first time. The courtroom erupted. Carol, his mother, shot up, pointing back at him. You're blaming me? I did this for the family. I thought it was shared money. I didn't know you were conning people, faking a wife, using false identities. I didn't raise you to be like this. Monica screamed too, and for the first time, her polished, polite mask fell off. I didn't know Travis had a separate account. I just signed the papers he gave me. I thought it was an investment for all of us. Jenna snapped back, her voice furious. You said Olivia agreed? You even sent fake emails pretending to be her, signed her name. You said she was too weak to take anyone to court. Travis shouted louder. None of you are innocent, you're all in this. The gavel slammed a second time. Order, the judge roared, or I'll have the bailiff escort you out. I remained silent. I didn't need to say anything. They were tearing each other apart. A federal agent stood from the back row, raising a folder. Your Honor, I present a preliminary list of charges. Financial fraud, identity theft, document forgery, conspiracy to launder money, and attempted asset seizure through false claims of mental incompetence. All supported by concrete evidence and witness testimony. When the list was submitted, Travis nearly collapsed in his chair. Carol sat dazed, hollow-eyed. Monica sobbed uncontrollably. Jenna kept her head down, unable to look anyone in the eye. As Stacy walked past me, she whispered, I'm sorry, I was a victim too. I nodded. I didn't need to hate a woman who'd also been manipulated by him. The hearing was adjourned to prepare for formal prosecution within 6 weeks, but all the cards were on the table now, and they had no way out. As I stepped out of the courtroom, the midday sun hit my face. For the first time in months, I didn't feel cold inside anymore. I didn't win out of revenge. I won because I stood up when they expected me to stay silent. 6 months after the hearing, I stood in front of my old house in Charleston, holding the keys, staring at the wooden door I once believed was my safe haven in the storms of life. Now, it was just an empty shell. A house filled with lies, manipulation, and pain. I locked the door one last time and handed the keys to the real estate agent. The house had sold just 3 weeks after being listed. The buyers were a newlywed couple. I smiled as I watched them walk hand in hand through the front yard. They didn't yet know what it meant to lose everything, and I hoped they never would. Travis pled guilty. He had no choice. With overwhelming evidence, recordings, wire transfers, false identities, testimony from Stacy and Jenna, he signed a plea deal to reduce his sentence. 18 years in prison, no parole for the first 9. When the verdict was read, he said nothing. No crying, no begging, just lowered his head, eyes empty, as if he knew it was all over. Carol, his mother, insisted she knew nothing about the fake identities or outside scams, but she couldn't deny the fake authorization with her signature, her digital fingerprint, or the email to the bank referencing Olivia's unstable mental condition. She was charged with 3 felonies: document forgery, attempted asset seizure, and providing false information. Her defense attorney whispered they'd try for leniency due to her age, but the judge simply shook his head. The evidence was too strong. There was no room to spin it. Jenna, despite participating in the money transfers, cooperated fully, turned over documents, testified, and exposed the fake investment scheme. She received a suspended sentence with 3 years of supervised probation. Monica Travis's sister, wasn't criminally charged due to her limited role, but she was fined for receiving funds from fraudulent accounts. Her lawyer tried to shift all blame onto Travis, and while he wasn't wrong, my relationship with her officially ended. Forever. After the final court session, Jenna met me outside on the courthouse lawn. She handed me an envelope. "This is the portion of the money I was roped into signing off on. I know I can't make it right, but I don't want to keep anything from that mess." I nodded and took it, not because I forgave her, but because I knew dignity is sometimes the most painful lesson people have to learn, through losing everything. I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, a small town nestled in green hills where the mornings are foggy and quiet, and the nights are so still I can hear my own heartbeat. I rented a third-floor apartment in a renovated historic building. Not big, not fancy, but it's mine. No liars have keys. No eyes are watching. No more justifications that it's for the family so you must sacrifice. I take morning walks with Milo, the dog who's stayed loyally by my side from the beginning. I've started freelancing for a content design company, spending my days reading books, brewing coffee, and learning to paint. Things I once pushed aside for the sake of family life. I no longer have contact with anyone named Delaney, and no one has tried to reach out, maybe because they know I'm not the same easy target I used to be. They know messing with me again would be their end. One afternoon while folding laundry in the living room, I got a delivery notification. I opened the package. A card from Stacy. "Thank you for not making me feel small. I didn't realize how deeply I'd been deceived until I saw the look in your eyes in that courtroom. I hope you find the peace I'm still trying to rebuild from scratch. Stacy." I closed the card and placed it on the bookshelf. A small piece of the past. Not something I run from, but not something I cling to either. That night, I stood by the window, watching the streetlights reflect off the glass. My heart no longer felt heavy, it had healed. Not because of forgiveness, but because I chose to rise. I chose me. People often say, blood is forever, but I don't believe that anymore. Because I've learned. The blood of choice runs deeper than the water of kinship. And now, I choose the people who stay. Not for gain, not out of obligation, but because they truly want me in their life, not what I can give them. My story doesn't end with applause or a happy tune. But it ends with the one thing that matters most. Freedom. Olivia's story is a powerful reminder that the cruelest betrayals sometimes come from those we trust the most. When kindness is mistaken for weakness, and family ties become a cover for greed, we're forced to make a choice. Stay silent, or stand up for ourselves. Olivia chose to flip the script. She didn't just reclaim justice, she found something even more valuable than any inheritance. Freedom, dignity, and relationships truly worth keeping. What do you think about Olivia's story and the choices she made? Would you have done things differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to follow the channel for more heartfelt family stories.